Were you guys, was the program you guys were with, was it through Virginia Economic Development Program?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we found it. I at least found it on a Handshake.
Same.
Through the UVA Career Center.
Don't be talking yet. We're going to.
No, it's fine. Let's go.
Are we going?
Yeah,
Are we on air?
everything's on. Yeah.
We're recording.
You turned the sign on.
It's okay. I'll bleep that. We're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah.
I've got my sensor plug-in ready to go. It's locked and loaded.
Oh, can you make a sound? So
Well, not right now. I mean, that's in post.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can play sounds.
Little
So it's good.
soundboard.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so the first time how did we get introduced? How did you find out about Cargo Sense? What was this program? So it was Virginia Economic Development Program, State of Virginia.
Yeah, it was like a global business internship.
Global business internship.
Yeah, so like working with like Virginia small, medium-sized companies that work with global
international
business.
stuff.
Yeah, international sales and.
So you guys were looking specifically to intern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I know like the posting, it said global business intern. You could click on it and like apply for what location you wanted. Like, oh, Reston is perfect. It's like close to my house. And Cargo Sense seemed interesting more than. Never mind. But
Did you guys
Don't need to
interview?
name names, yeah.
Yeah. You want to pull the mic a little bit closer to you just so you get it up there.
a wee bit, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That's good. Yeah. So did you guys interview with anybody else?
Yeah, first I interviewed with Sarah. She was the initial coordinator, and she, like, I'm pretty sure she, like, stepped down later, but she was super sweet. It was my first, like, professional interview, so I went in with, like, my cardigan, and I was genuinely, like, shaking, and she was super sweet, though, and it helped that she was, like, an alumni at UVA, and she was in our sorority, so that was, like, something to talk about, and we got along really well, and she was like, oh, don't worry, like, I'll for sure pass your resume on to Christine and Mark, like, they'll love you.
So this was part of the Virginia Economic Development. So they first pre-interview you.
I didn't
Yeah.
get interviewed.
Oh,
by them.
you didn't. You just like passed right through.
I'm assuming that
By your time, Sarah was gone.
I think I applied like right in between when like Chrissy took over. So I think it might have like me doing an interview because I think I submitted my resume to VEDP, but they didn't interview me. I just went straight to Mark and Christine, and I rented out I reserved a library room for like 30 minutes so that I could do it. But then there was like a group of people waiting outside to get in, and I was like just trying to wrap up the interview really quick, but I didn't want to be rude. And the people outside were like against the glass wall, and I was like,
Wow, this sounds like a very stressful thing.
it was really stressful, but it worked out.
Hey, it turned out in the end, right?
No,
Yeah,
you guys came, so that's awesome. So we should do the entry music, or
yeah,
Are
we
we
can.
doing that? I think we should.
We have some theme music.
Oh, I thought
and,
someone was gonna sing.
no?
No. We have some theme music, and we
acapella.
put the title cards in there, and
Yeah. So
we get a little dance break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
oh yeah, that's it.
it's
Right?
so fancy.
It is. fancy.
Why didn't we do this more often?
No, this is good. This has been a while since we've done a podcast. Right?
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So this one is going to be a podcast with a couple of the interns we had. We had more.
We did.
And he mysteriously disappeared.
Well, we
Yeah.
have one here. That
Rest in
you know,
peace.
That's what happens with developers, right? They can develop anywhere. The difference with the activities you guys did, you did here.
Yeah, Steven just Irish goodbye.
Yeah, he did. Just right.
Yeah, he really did, didn't
Yeah.
he?
Well, I remember Rich just came in and he was like, when is Steven here? And I was like, Steven told me last weekend he was leaving. Like last Friday, he was like, or Thursday, he was like, tomorrow's my last day. And they never came in on Friday.
Now, just note, Stephen did a wonderful job this summer
did.
as well. So, welcome
Thank you.
to the cross dock.
The cross dock.
That's the name because we're across from one another. Do you know what a cross dock is?
Yes.
You know what a cross dock is?
I do.
Explain what a cross dock is.
I don't want to.
Okay. Well, that's fine. So in logistics, a cross dock is typically where you've got a warehouse with bay doors on both sides. Trucks pull up to one side, they offload stuff. Trucks are on the other side, they load stuff on. So it's a cross dock. So you stuff comes in and goes back out. So it's not storage, like there's no storage in a cross dock. It's literally just kind of this warehouse space where things move in and out real quick. Then this is an exchange of ideas versus palettes. See what we did there?
It's very funny.
That's his.
This is why you're CEO.
No, he chose it. That's why he's VP.
That's why they
of
pay me the
marketing.
big bucks.
This
Yeah.
is why he's in
Marketing
charge
sorry.
of the crosstalk.
The crosstalk. It's us. We'll have you guys. So it's been a while since we've done one of these podcasts. So why don't you introduce each of yourselves and who you are and
Sure.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm Alyssa. I'm a rising third year at the University of Virginia, and I'm an econ major with a minor in Spanish. And Kate and I were here this summer to be global business interns. So we did some market research, we did some operation stuff, and we were in office the whole time. So we kind of did a lot of whatever was needed from us. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
I'm Kate. I was interning with Alyssa this summer. I'm also a rising third year at University of Virginia, and I'm majoring in sociology and global commerce with a minor in social entrepreneurship. So yeah, we were kind of just bumping around the office. I mean, we were doing operations. We did some like marketing. But it was fun because every day, for the most part, weren't sure like what exactly we were going to be doing. So we got to kind of see like everyone's job and all the moving parts of it. So I definitely enjoyed getting to do that because I feel like I saw how everything works rather than just like sitting in a room like researching stuff and not knowing what's going on.
Yeah. I also think it was just interesting to be able to work with so many like different department heads, like, like Christine and Leslie and Luke, like reporting to so many different people, and Rich and Mark, obviously. Like everyone expects different things or like has different expectations. I guess that's the same thing. But yeah, I think that was another thing that was a learning experience. Not only like the work we do, but also how we go about it.
Yeah. It was fun to like get to meet everyone. I feel like that's like a good vibe with like a startup is that everyone's always here and like Rich, you just pop into our office and be like, hey guys. And like, it's just like fun to like bump around and say hi and everyone's always there and you can like be like, what do you need? But then also have like a little chat with them.
Yeah, it's different. I think that, so again, as we were talking about earlier, this is sponsored by the state of Virginia. So the state of Virginia tries to help students in college be able to get intern positions inside of different companies. I think Virginia, I was just in Singapore on a business trip and also through the Virginia Economic Development Group. You guys did some research for us in preparation for that trip to Singapore, which was great, by the way. It helped a lot. But in Singapore, they said that Virginia is one of the best states when it comes to helping foreign companies try and work with folks here, or conversely, companies in Singapore trying to work with folks in the United States, right? So these economic development groups work with one another. And they said Virginia is probably the best state that they've worked with. So that's good stuff. And Virginia gave us you guys for the summer, which was wonderful. But it's really hard if you think about it. You're in college, you're busy doing what you need to do in college to actually try and say, how can I get an intern position somewhere? We had one meeting where we were reviewing what the different people were doing in their different companies. And it seemed like almost everyone was saying, oh, I've done some social media posts. Mm-hmm. And everyone was effectively, it looked like kind of pigeonholed into
I'm
marketing.
chronically on TikTok, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and basically, hey, okay, so I've got somebody coming in their early 20s or whatever, and what are we going to have them do? Social media, because A, we older people don't know how to do it, and B, they live social media,
Yeah,
right?
Speak for yourself, man.
So we didn't do that to you.
Mm-hmm. No, you did not.
No, we had you do a variety of things. Some of it was market related. I guess you did some stuff with Leslie, looking at it from LinkedIn and stuff like that, but it really wasn't social media oriented at all.
No, even the stuff we did with Leslie, yeah, we did some things where it was like designing using Canva and stuff, but I think a large part of it was also still doing that research aspect of it, like the behind the scenes part of looking into the event, who might attend, and like catering how we present ourselves and like on the advertisements and stuff to those types of businesses.
Yeah.
So it was more than just like promoting our brand. It's like promoting our brand to a specific demographic or audience.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think is still a little bit like complex.
It is. No, and I mean, the key to, from my perspective, to interns is you're giving people the opportunity to do as much as they possibly want to do. Shouldn't limit them. I mean,
Yeah.
but at the same time, companies benefit dramatically from that. Our CTO Ben was an intern in my prior company. Starting at like 17. So he interned during high school. And then he went off to...
How old is Ben?
Ben is 200 at this point. But no, sorry, from your perspective, he's actually, I think he's still in his 20s, right? Oh. Might be 30. Is he 30?
In the neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there. He's younger than me, but older than you guys. But no, he interned for us, and then he went to Virginia Tech. He continued to intern during, or basically work for us during Virginia Tech. But I remember when Ben first came in, my math, and he was the first intern I ever had. He was 17 years old. He was still in high school. And my math was, okay, at the rate we're paying him, if he could do during the summer, so during like 2.5 months or whatever, what one of us do in a week, then it kind of pays for itself. That's the kind of math I did. And then after like a week, he was kind of keeping up with most of the engineers and what they were software engineers and what they were doing. And I started feeling bad, about what interns get paid versus people that, are full-time employees and things like that, which, it's still sad. I know you guys are going to pay us more, but but you just never know. An intern, you're both giving people an opportunity, but you might be helping yourself establish people that are going to work with you for a long period of time. Like I've been working with Ben now for a long time. I mean, gosh, how long has it been? It's like 12 years here. And man, it's been like 15, 16 years that I've been working with him, right? So it's kind of, you just never know, right? There's relationships or business relationships you have, and they can be long lasting. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great idea. We had 4 interns this year.
Yeah.
We had Abraham too out in California. So, yeah. Then it was neat. And people focused on different things. Like I said, Steven was doing software engineering. I think Abraham was actually on the software solution side. Mm-hmm. And then you both were on more of the business side, I think, but also operations. So you guys want to talk about some of the stuff you did? So what do we do?
Yeah,
so we're a software company, right? So CargoSense is a software SaaS company. And why don't you guys tell us what CargoSense does?
Sure. Okay. I have the whole spiel in my brain. It's like, okay, CargoSense is a tech startup that streamlines supply chain operations using sensor and QR code technology. Yeah.
No, it's good. Don't think about that.
That's pretty good.
That's awesome. That was good. Yeah. Should write marketing company. No. But we do use sensors, right, for what we do. We aren't a manufacturer, so we are a hardware agnostic company. But what are the things that we have to do with those sensors before we ship them out to customers? You guys did a lot of this very early on. So it was just kind of interesting that even before you actually started, which was like last December, you did a little bit of work on this. But why don't you describe some of the kind of physical stuff that we have to do?
Well, it's like just putting all the pieces together for the final project. So we have like the 3D printed carriers, and then we screw the magnets on, and then E4BL, and then it all gets on the HDD4. But I don't know, building, it was like fun. I kind of liked that we started in December by like just building them, because then as we got further along, it's like not like, we're a software company, like we have this technology, but to actually have like worked with it and been able to like ask Luke questions, like, why are we doing this? Like, what's this for? Then it like helped put it together. So then once we started with like market research and some of the other stuff, it was like, okay, I have an idea of like what we're physically like giving people, like what is not like, oh, there's a sensor on the wall in the warehouse. It's like, okay, it's this and it does this. So that was like helpful for me to like be able to visualize it and like kind of know what was going on. And like building it, I feel like, or like putting all the pieces together was like one of the easiest ways to like kind of see how it goes. like putting all the pieces together and being like, what's this? And then like just figuring it out.
Yeah, so we have a inventory of devices downstairs and the tens of thousands of devices downstairs, and we ship them out globally. So you guys did some of that too, prepping shipments of sensors to support customers like Google. But so these physical sensors, as Kate, you described, you've got the brackets, these carriers that are basically plastic brackets. We 3D printed them because it's just easier to 3D print them to actually get a mold done where you make these things
efficient.
more cost efficient.
And it's
right?
cool to watch the 3D printing.
It is, and and so it's making layers. But then we have these magnets. So we have a magnetic mount so that the sensors can be magnetically mounted. Those particular devices, though, are for Google. Do you know what they're used for in Google? What kind of shipments are there for tracking?
They're for data centers, right?
Data center construction. So the big trucks of stuff that are coming into data centers for construction, they magnetically attach these to the side of the big stuff that's coming in. So the sensors are on there. The E4BL you talked about is a temperature humidity sensor. The HGD4 is a GPS tracking sensor. CargoSense takes that data, we call measurement, and then we automate on top of it. So the key to what we do is that automation, making sure, like you said, that we streamline operations. We simplify that by automating on top of that data. I was talking to an investment group today where they were trying to distinguish between visibility systems, and we call it a visibility OS. It's like, well, why do you call it that? We're like, because we're actively have these software agents that watch that data, that measurement, and make sure it's not telling you something that is bad, right? And when it is, raise an exception. So it's very different. I think the thing that I've heard, when we were in Singapore, we met with a big pharmaceutical company and actually the 3PL company and others, and everyone had said, we've never seen something like this. Like that you guys do this is pretty cool. Like we've never seen this. We met with a pharmaceutical company in San Francisco earlier this week. They said, we've never seen anything like this. So, it's good. And by the way, that's important and good. It's not just like we've never seen anything like this kind of thing that's a piece of trash. It's we've never seen something like this that's good. But so you guys did that, the physical part, working with the sensors. We ship out hundreds and thousands of sensors a month to various places around the world. You know how many countries we support for Google?
Over
Was it?
60.
I was gonna say 60 something.
Yeah. It's like 60 different locations that we're shipping stuff out to. And that's just for that customer, and we've got others that do this as well. So you guys did that part. Then you did
Many trips to FedEx.
Many trips to FedEx,
Yeah,
right?
that
So,
big Google.
yes.
Many trips to
We
FedEx.
became best friends with some of those guys.
Yeah, we
We
need
have more boxes. We're going to be right back with more.
we need to streamline our supply chain operations, right? Through intern programs.
It was,
No.
that,
say
it was
that's
just
what you
that
have interns
big,
for.
that big Google shipment
Oh yeah.
and so many papers.
Oh right. So we had to do all those, and we had to do all the
The carts.
the carts, these
the
little
shoe racks.
yeah. And I remember that room
Don't say
full.
that. They're not supposed to be.
Full of boxes. It was so many boxes going out to each of those
And we
data
built
centers.
all the boxes. We put all the boxes.
Built
You put the
all of
boxes
them.
together. You labeled everything. It went out to like 30 different data centers, right? So those were the ones that were going to data centers. That was really, really interesting. So that's another physical thing. But then you guys did also on a lot of market research.
Yeah, that was I think the main bulk of what we did this summer.
Yeah.
Speaking of bulk, what's your favorite
Don't make me
3-letter
say it.
acronym? Come on,
I
say it.
say
Intermediate bulk containers,
Intermediate, the IBCs.
the IBCs.
Yeah.
That was like I think the first thing that we like really got in depth in researching, because I think our initial assignment was to look into the chemical industry, and while we're doing that, you kind of just, Mark always says, you fall down the rabbit hole when you're
Which
researching.
is so
Like,
real.
the internet is crazy. Love Mark. But yeah, so we found these things called IBCs, and they basically just transport liquid chemicals, which is a huge market for our technology, because these chemicals, I forgot what they're called. I think you might know. They're like the chemicals that go into a lot of like biopharmaceuticals. So they're like prep chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those need to be temperature regulated.
Right.
And like they need to be in sensitive environments. So IBCs was a huge market for us to tap into.
And it's a huge market, There's massive amount of IBCs that are shipped every year. They are bulk containers. They have these kind of like metal frames around them and everything like that. So we researched that. You also researched some competition out there and some of the asset stuff. So you guys did some of that research too, right? You did a competitive analysis on the specific company that we asked you to do.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
They don't measure up.
But that was like kind of cool to do like a deep dive and just like see what they're doing. It was a little tricky at parts because they want you to like subscribe and like buy everything, and we were like never. But it was like interesting to see, and then even seeing like some of the screenshots of their like from the app store of their like app and stuff, and it was like, this doesn't make sense. They need cargo sense.
Which does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the name.
Yeah, but I think competitive analyses are really interesting because not only do you see where you are better than the competition, but also, you know, where you might want to improve or ideas, like, you know, and like also I think it's important too for like giving you that information. So when you're pitching to a new customer or something, then you can be like, this is what stands out about us.
Right. And so we primarily deal in pharmaceutical companies. We asked you guys to do research outside of that space, to look at different markets and to pull some of that data. So tell me, like, what was that like?
It was like fun because there were a lot of things that
Frustrating at times.
Yeah, but there was a lot of things that initially I was like when first like Mark was like, why don't you guys look into like the cattle industry? And I was like, what? Nothing we do has to do with like cows. But then like hearing like the explanation and how like, you know, you could easily put like a QR sensor on like the ear tag that is on a cow and then track everything like medical appointments, like feeding, like if they get milked, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool to like see like you guys like put together the pieces of like, oh, you should do this. Cause again, like initially with like cows and farming, I was kind of like, what? But then after like
what does that have to do with data centers or pharmaceutical products, right?
But then so it started like coming together, and like even just the little things that I feel like you would always think about, like, oh, like California produces a lot of like nuts, but like there's a lot of nut allergies, so like that needs to be like those trucks specifically need to be like cleaned out like very thoroughly and then kept track of, and like all the little things like that. Yeah. Like I would just not ever think of those little details. So it was kind of cool when you guys would like be like, oh, what about this? And I'd be like, that's a great idea. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, I think you really get to see like the versatility of like our sensors. Like when we're doing the medical device, you're talking about how we can also track like human events where, okay, yeah, on one end, like we do know that our sensors are important with like biopharmaceuticals and like products that require sensitive environments, but also like events where humans need to like be there at the exact time a product gets there, or they like, I don't know. It's just, it's more cost efficient for a company. I'm not explaining this well.
No.
It seems like just every
Things
around
you wouldn't
like,
think of.
Yeah, around like every turn, like you guys would have another like thing that you thought of like to use it, which is just like super cool. Because initially, like I didn't see the like scope of it. So then as we like started doing research and like you guys continuously had more ideas about like what to look into, it was like, wow, like this is extensive. Like this can do a ton of different things.
Right. Yeah, and the automation, I mean, all of these things, there's a lot of coordinative stuff in supply chains, right? And you're coordinating between companies, which is inherently just sucks, right? So the ability to use technology, use like our platform, our automated agents to replace those low-level tasks that people have to do, which we do a really poor job of because we're trying to do other things. It becomes this kind of like you unpack one thing, it unpacks another thing, and it's a chain, right? Supply chains are a chain. The supplier for this. So we were talking about medical device delivery. A medical device, when it gets delivered, usually a technician, this is the thing you were talking about, shows up. And having to coordinate to make sure that technician is not sitting there for like 4 hours or 5 hours because you're paying that technician hourly waiting for a delivery. Yeah. So if you have anything where you have people that need to show up and some kind of thing show up at the same time, it's a great use of technology to be able to streamline that coordination, that particular one. That's the one you were talking about,
Yes.
which I tried to do a little
Yes,
bit better.
yes.
No, it's neat.
You read my mind.
No, I know. Well, I asked you to look into it, so you were just like, why? And but a lot of it is that. And, there's a lot of business that's like, this is what we do. This is who we sell for. It's very concrete. They stay in their little box, and they might be very successful in that box. We're definitely, because supply chain itself is so broad. I mean, it affects so many different kinds of companies. Like you said, from cows to, or cattle, I guess. It's not just cows, but from like that to pharmaceuticals, to chemical companies, to people running data centers. Who knew Google shipped so much stuff, right? Because you think, oh, it's Google search, right? It's the cloud. The clouds are made of droplets of water. Like what are we? That's where all of our stuff lives, by the way, in the cloud. That's my little political thing. Anyway, whatever, it's up there. Sorry. But it's it was fun. It was fun to have you guys during this summer. Anything particularly stand out for you as far as like what you think you learned this summer that will impact you guys going forward? Because you already said that you don't really want to keep working for us during this semester because you're going to be busy. You said
I
you're
told
gonna be
you that
busy.
I would do
We're
market
going
research.
to.
Okay, you're going to be busy.
Well, I'm gonna be abroad.
Mark and I
I'm gonna
have had
do-
this
I'm
conversation,
gonna
and I
do
was
the
like, yes,
best
Mark.
can.
Okay.
I would love to.
Okay.
So,
I mean, Steven is too, but
I
I just
expect
don't
a
know
little
where he is.
Slack message.
All
I'll
right.
turn my
Being
Slack notifications
researched
on.
there.
So what, 3 years in supply chain now? Is that what's happening? Or
Who knows?
maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It is
The ones
international
that
though.
we're
What was
scared.
also neat is this was international business,
Yeah.
thing. So you guys were interested in international things. I'll tell you about you guys can talk about what you specifically want to do from an international perspective. But at least you got to see things that are moving all over the world
Yeah.
and that impact things globally. Wasn't just local stuff, right?
Yeah.
And specifically, a lot of the markets we looked into, I mean, there were some where we were focusing, right, like on California, Texas, Virginia, but a lot of the times we're also looking at APAC, like Asia Pacific and Europe, and just looking at companies and markets that are huge in those countries. Why is it huge here? Why is Singapore like the hub of all business and supply chain? Like, it was just interesting to see all of that because I don't know. I feel like I got more of a worldly perspective, more insight into the business world in general. Yeah.
I feel like just learning so much about supply chain, also like as an industry, like domestic, global, there's so many moving parts of it that you just don't pay attention to and you don't notice them. Like you go to a store and great, something is just on the shelf for you. Like, so getting to like see the behind the scenes and how much like movement and coordination and everything that goes into it was kind of fascinating because that just plays a part in like everything. Like now when I'm driving on the road and I see like a truck, I'm like, oh wow, like they're probably like, that's part of their supply chain. They're like moving it. They're going to go sell it.
I was going to say, if you guys, it's sad, isn't it? I go there and we're like, we're in Singapore and I'm looking at all these intermodal containers stacked up and I see it everywhere. We're software people, right? But in this space, once you appreciate the complexity of it, like I remember US Foods, we ended up doing some work with them. Once you do that, you see their logo, you see so many US food trucks driving around that say US Foods on them because they're delivering every day from their distribution centers, from 69 distribution centers in the United States into these restaurants and stuff. So you see these things. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, there's definitely like, I feel like there were a couple of times when we were like going to Wegmans or something to like grab stuff and we would like see it and be like, oh, look, I just looked up that like trucking company. I just researched it.
Or I'll just be driving and I see like a company, or a company logo on a building and I'm like, Borrow Pharmaceuticals.
So you started to categorize everybody into their supply chains.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's one of the fun parts about it, like as an industry, is that like I still don't really have any idea what I want to do like for my career, but anything is going to have a supply chain aspect in it because that's just the way it works.
Yeah, most things do, right? There's information companies that are purely that, but people either consume stuff So there's inbound supply chains. I don't care who you are. Maybe Amazon's your fulfillment, but but then people produce stuff.
Yeah.
And even companies you don't think about have supply chain that you don't think about would need them.
Yeah.
Like, Netflix. Netflix streams movies, right? What's their supply chain? Well, they build data centers. They manage data centers. They manage all those streaming video servers in all of those data centers. So that's a really big physical supply chain. Meta, massive physical supply chain. All of the cloud companies. Amazon, we understand because we get things delivered from them. Supply chain. But realize Amazon is a logistics company. That's what Amazon ultimately, they're a massive, really vertically integrated logistics company. But, why don't you guys tell us what you're doing, what this next semester or this next year looks like for you guys both? Because, a little bit of a divergent path here. So, Kate, I'll start with you.
Well, school. So taking classes for my major this upcoming semester. So it'll be interesting because I'm studying global commerce. So like 2 of my classes are focused on like seeing like global systems, and I was looking through one of the syllabi, and there was like a section on like global supply chain. And I was like, yep, don't even need to read that chapter of the textbook.
Right.
You wrote that chapter.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. Especially it makes me more excited too, because like I just declared last semester. So having done something this summer that like ties directly into like global commerce, and like having enjoyed like learning about it, it makes me like looking forward to those classes. I'm not like forced to take like math or science, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
I
that.
feel like this is really the year when we can actually start exploring stuff that we're interested in. Because up until now, it's been like so many just gen eds and like random, oh my God, the engagement classes, just
Yeah.
like random like
Engagement
philosophical classes UVA makes you take. I mean, they're interesting, of course, but they're not really helpful.
Probably not going to have a much application to
Yeah, no.
your actual life.
Like one of mine was about trees, which I'm really happy that my professor was able to share her passion for trees, but I can't say I share the same passion.
One of mine was studying monsters, which was pretty interesting, but I'm an econ major.
Monsters, like in the
Like we
like in
studied
the mythological sense?
like
or-
Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Okay.
We watched Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
I see.
But
Like popular culture.
yeah.
Okay.
Didn't
Gotcha.
take that one.
No, but this semester I'm studying abroad.
Okay.
So I'm leaving
Where are you
for
going?
Spain.
Oh, Spain.
Valencia.
Oh,
Yeah, you could hit me up when I'm there and I can track down a company or something.
Yeah, if you find any customers in Valencia when you're there, just be like, hey, I'm a company that can help you out.
Hola, las operaciones de...
Look at that minor kicking in.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Spain in 2 weeks. So there they don't offer any of my major classes. So I'll just be studying like Spanish language and culture, Spanish literature, Spanish politics, which will be interesting. It's all in Spanish. So I'll be doing that there. And then when I come back in the spring, that's going to be like the real grind for me. That's when I'll be taking all of my econ classes and like 20 credits. So
Oh, it's going to be a load when you come back. Okay. Do you have any more? Do you guys have anything else you want to share?
Oh wait, you had your question about what you think we're going to take away or something that'll
Yeah. How this might impact you.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I think in a more like specific sense, like to cargo sense, not just, like internship experience. I think it was really insightful for me to see what kind of work I like to be doing. I really liked the market research and being behind the scenes and being able to have more like creative liberties, I guess. Like, we didn't really have too many guidelines. It was just look into this industry. I would find this industry, I'd find this company. I'd see, like cargo sense art technology could be used in this way for this company or this service. So I liked that and being able to like use like my own creativity to be like, oh, this would be a potential market. So I think that was fun for me and not being like having to be put in a box.
Yeah.
on TikTok.
We never started our Cargo Sense
Oh
intern
no,
TikTok.
we didn't do the TikTok.
No, we
Somebody
didn't.
wonderful
Darn it, we
ideas.
forgot. No, that was a wonderful idea that we quickly forgot about.
Well, you said we couldn't even use Cargo Sense's name.
No, we're not going to put Cargo Sense on TikTok. It just is not necessary. Some of those other companies need that because
Well, like LinkedIn is trying to like be TikTok now
yeah,
themselves. So
yeah. Well,
Everyone is trying to be TikTok. But you got Instagram Reels, Snapchat has their own little video thing.
yeah. Well, the first one was on Twitter, so that was the OG. Well, before that,
yes, X the Everything app.
no,
TM.
before that,
Yeah.
like when it was actual
TikTok should
Twitter.
be likened to Vine, not Twitter.
Vine
true.
was
Awesome.
the first one.
Yes, it
No,
was.
Vine was the OG of those short
Yeah.
little videos because of Twitter.
Yep.
And then, TikTok was like, that's a good idea. And then we're going to drive an algorithm that drives engagement. And then we're going to just turn the entire world into something that watches like 5-second clips
And we're
all
going to
day.
steal all your information.
Sure.
But
They're
that's
going to
okay.
ruin your
That's
attention
okay.
span,
It's
so you have
just-
to pay
it's just the-
$20.48 every time you talk to someone.
Right. It's okay. It's just being exfiltrated.
The price you
Fine.
pay
It's
for
no
good
big deal.
content is
You know? Exactly.
I wouldn't give it
Also,
up.
sometimes I watch like 2-minute long TikToks if they're doing something interesting.
Oh, okay. So it's not just 5
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Two
pat myself
minutes
on the back
is
for
good.
sitting through it.
Have you ever sat through like an actual 30-minute video on your phone?
Like
Just-
We watch
like
shows.
a TV.
We watch Game of
Shows.
Thrones.
I'm not talking about shows. I mean, like things on like TikTok, like things that are
30?
really long, like an interview or something.
Yeah, I'll listen to like 10-minute like story times or something.
Yeah.
Or like
I
the
feel-
like
I feel
murder
like
cases.
For a while, it was maxed out at like 3 minutes.
Right.
But now
It's not just TikTok. There's other things, right? But no, it's. I find myself being. It's like I get impatient watching even like interviews where they'll have like a segment. Posted
it on
on
2x
posted
speed.
on. Well, I don't even do that. I was just like watching it, and I'm like, this thing's 10 minutes long. I just start listening to it, and then I'm like, this is 10 minutes long. Is this worth 10 minutes of my life?
No, but it might be worth 5 minutes.
Might
You just
be.
speed it. Like when we listened to your presentation, we were like, "Oh my goodness!"
my
it's
gosh,
like
we had to put it
an
on 2x.
hour. So we put it on 2x because we were like, "We got to hear all this information, but
No.
faster."
You were supposed to be in the moment
Yeah,
and
really
just
get
absorb it
immersed in
at
it,
the.
yeah.
Should have slowed it down. Be like,
Supply chain.
chain, simplify.
You did say what you're taking away.
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like it goes back to just like supply chain being applicable anywhere. Like, I like that. And it's like fun to like look at a truck and be like, oh, like we researched that. Cause it's just all around you. And like IBCs. Now I see IBCs and I'm like, oh my God, Rich, guess what I saw today? So it's just like, it's fun. It gives you a different perspective on the way
The
things-
world works. right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just how everything gets around. And that was probably my biggest takeaway because it's always in the back of my mind now.
No, it's surprising, and as you travel the world and you start seeing things, or you work with different businesses over time, hopefully you come back here. But if you work with different businesses over time, that perspective is good. It's kind of like people say, a lot of people in the United States have a very U.S. centric perspective. We don't think about the globe. We don't think about international countries. We don't think about all that stuff.
Sure.
Supply chain effectively forces you to always think that way. You can't not think. I mean, although a lot of companies are like, we're going to do visibility, and their visibility is North America ground-based transportation.
Mm-hmm.
That's not supply chain. I mean, it is. It's a $700 billion industry, so lots of money gets thrown around moving things around in North America. But, globally, it's $10 trillion moved around. And, when you start looking at that, it makes the world both one thing, and it makes the interconnectedness of the world real. Mm-hmm. So you start thinking of, you got a global conflict. I was talking to somebody, I was flying back yesterday from San Francisco. The woman next to me was an analyst for I don't know who, but Middle East policy. So I don't know what 3-letter group in the government.
What acronym? Yeah.
She worked for, but she was saying, yes, I'm the person that deals with Middle East policy. And so we ended up having a conversation on the Houthis firing these missiles into the Red Sea.
Red Sea,
Yeah. And basically diverting all commerce from the Red Sea.
And the Suez Canal. Yeah.
Right, yeah, through the Suez, yeah. And basically having to go around Africa and come back up, right, to go to Europe from what would be like a 3-day trip or a 4-day trip ends up being like a 15-day trip because you're going around, coming back up.
Old school style.
What's that?
Old school
And
style.
it reminds me of like
Old
the
school
history
stuff.
classes where it was like, and then they bombed the railroads so that nothing could get anywhere.
Right.
And it was like, dang.
Yeah.
Supply chain.
Right. Yeah. No, logistics, right? I mean, that's the way wars are won or lost. But the ability of, you see something like she was thinking of Middle Eastern policy, like how do we deal with, Iran? Iran as a nation state has to protect Iran as a nation state, right? Like they are a country, like they need to exist. They have resources. But these networks, terrorist networks, whatever you want to consider them, they don't have that. They don't have a country. How do you fight that? Anyway, so we were just talking about that, but it was weird that, she would ask me what I did. So I was talking about supply chain and we had this conversation where she had all this expertise on Middle Eastern policy. And I was saying how that obviously dovetailed into what happens. These geopolitical things affect supply chain. Like when Ukraine hit or I should say when Russia
You should do a
hit Ukraine.
podcast with her.
We should.
I feel like that'd be really interesting,
It would be
actually.
very interesting and very strange. But no, I mean, with Ukraine, people said, well, it's going to hit wheat, it's going to hit, oil production. There were various kinds of things or was it corn? I think it was corn, not wheat.
No, it was wheat.
Was it wheat?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
wheat. And no, but you start thinking of products. So, I mean, it's not obviously the human loss of war and these kinds of things are terrible. But you start seeing the business impacts of all those things too. It isn't just about war, ramifications of it, and you can't get things in and out of Israel right now. Airlines won't fly there because you don't know what's coming from Iran, right? Or volcano goes up in like Iceland, and like half of like Northern Europe can't ship things around because of stuff in the sky. So you'll start seeing this not just on trucks on the road, but you'll have things happen and you'll be like, oh, that's going to disrupt that. And, you're going to be out in some vineyard in Valencia and you're going to be like, look at that IBC right there. That probably has pesticide in it. And, that needs to have a QR sensor so that you can optimize that. You're going to start selling our solutions.
Oh, I will.
That's the other thing.
We're going to be like,
reflexive.
Alyssa, send us some pictures from Valencia. It's going to be like, this was the IBC I saw on my street. This is the IBC I saw on the street next to mine.
Yeah. Look at
I'll
this
wear my
delivery vehicle.
cargo sense hat everywhere I go.
Yeah. You got some swag out of it.
Look at this
So
tourist.
that'll be good. All right.
Our swag is good.
It is.
It is.
Some right over
That's a
there.
solid hat.
It is. Yeah.
Kate and I wore it for like 2 days straight.
What's that?
Kate and I wore it for like 2 days straight around the office. Just
Had to happen.
opening Mark's door, close the door.
Oh,
Do
right.
that.
He thought that was really funny.
So, well, I'm glad that you guys had a good time this summer. We valued your contributions, and they were valuable. I mean, even on the trip, I know, right? So, yeah, you earned your keep, and then some. We, don't pay interns enough. Anyway, that's just a true statement in general.
$500 an hour.
Yeah, just like full consultant fee for
Yeah.
yeah, like one of the big consultancies.
Yep.
Like you guys are like, hey, I'm an intern, UVA.
Kate and Alyssa Consulting Incorporated.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys for being here this summer. I hope you guys have a successful year. And I know we'll engage
We'll
with
stay
you
in
through market
touch.
research. I get it. But no, it's just good. And, I look at this as an opportunity to, I look at this as an opportunity to build our workforce in the future. And so it's both a benefit to us, a benefit to you guys, but I think a benefit to the future of the world. In being able to have a workforce that's engaged and being productive.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
thanks,
having
y'all.
us.
All right. You guys have a wonderful, is it going to kick in more?
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's just fine. It kind of builds up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. And that's it.
It
Cheers.
was a lovely
All right.
experience.
Have a great year.
Take care. Okay. Bye.